Hello, Leo.
Um, so first of all, you will be anonymous.
I don't.
Second of all,
hmm
second, well, just good to know. People don't want to have their names attached to government papers, not government papers. I don't work for the government.
What's happening? Hold on.
You're getting arrested.
Okay, I gotta go right quick.
You're being charged for drug possession.
That's fair. Actually, I get it.
This is the court trial. We're doing it over Discord this year because
Stop!
COVID. So.
Discord judge. Discord admin.
Discord judge. This- hold on, hold on.
All good.
I hate. Hold on. There we go.
Oh,
So
this
they
is good.
recall this court this case today.
hmm
Um. Anyways, so this isn't like a formal interview. I just did mine with Zoe. It's essentially I ask you a question and then you answer however the fuck you want to.
Interviews,
It's like we're just
interviews.
no, no, but like I'm gonna like I'll. It's like we're gonna be like we're talking because I'm gonna say dumb shit and interject occasionally and I don't know. So
Of
don't like you
course.
feel like you have to be super formal.
I
Because
could.
I just my professor and my professor had like a written response prepared. I was like, no, it's okay. You don't have to do that.
Oh, that's so sweet, though.
I know. She ended up not using any of it. So,
Yeah, yeah. Sounds about
um,
right.
yeah. Do you know what this is about?
You told me it was about like spirituality and Halloween.
Mostly Halloween.
I love Halloween.
Uh,
No, I
I'll
don't.
tell you my thesis after, so you're not biased.
Okay.
But so you're Kaito.
It's
You're
true.
21.
Two.
You're 22. Old ass. Oh, no, kidding.
I just turned 22 on my
It's
birthday.
old ass motherfucker.
Thank you, Leo.
You're welcome. This is all going in the paper.
It's all good. I have 2 minutes and 32 seconds on this recording.
It's so um, you're 22 and you live where?
In Texas.
Where in Texas?
San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, Texas. So I guess I should start with when you were a kid.
A
You were a
bomb is
little. When you were a
immediately
little.
sent to my house. Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When you were a wee lad,
hmm
did you dress up for Halloween?
I did. Many times. Basically every time. I don't know why I said many times.
Did you ever like what age did you stop dressing up?
Uh, like 19, I guess. I used to go with my friends and we would take, like, there used to be, like, other little kids in my neighborhood. So me and a couple of my friends from like middle school and nope, just middle school, we would like take them around because parents were like, we don't want you walking around at night because they're like four, not four, like 10 or so. So we would take them around.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
telephone call. Oh,
Huh?
hold on, give me 1 second.
Something. And is currently asking them if they must attend their job, which they go to. With their job that they attend to every week. They paid around $9 an hour. And interestingly enough, at this job position, Kaito works at a Burlington Coat Factory, and their mother is currently inquiring whether or not they must go into work today. What's interesting about that is that Kaito has a schedule, and that schedule is expected to be semi-followed, if not completely followed. Uh, oh fuck, that's scary. Like, Discord. Mhm.
I'm so sorry about that. I'm
Oh,
so sorry.
you're so fine. Is that your mom?
Yeah. She was like, "When are you going to work today?" I was like, "I don't." And she was like, "Oh." And then we had a whole conversation about what to eat for lunch.
No.
Chick-fil-A. Betraying my community.
Oh my god. Can't believe you hate gay people.
I'm sorry. It was her idea.
Oh my god. Can't believe your mom hates gay people.
Yeah. Anyways, uh
So, so you went out a lot as a kid.
yeah.
What did you dress up as? Did you like buy a costume? Did you make a costume?
When I was younger, like less than 10, that was when my mom would make my costumes. But after 10, my mom was like, "Fuck off. You're too big now. Go buy one." So, I used to dress up as like very stereotypical, like I'm a ghost. I remember actually, hold on, correction. From like ages like 10 to like 13, I went as the same thing every year for Halloween. It was this fucked up like werewolf costume that I had, that it had like a pullover mask and like a big flannel with like wool, not wool, fur coming out of like the the hand and like the chest area, and like big like gloves that look like werewolf hands.
Ideal, ideal,
Yeah,
ideal.
maybe that's where it came from. That's where it all started.
Pearl Star, you fucking queer.
Yeah.
Um, hell yeah. So you would go trick or treating and stuff like that, or was it like something else that you
No,
get your stuff for?
just trick or treating. I didn't go to any like parties or anything.
Wow, alone on a Friday night, pathetic.
I was taking little children to trick or treating, Leo.
Wow, pathetic.
Thanks, Leo.
You're welcome. This isn't even an interview. This is just me shitting on you for 20 minutes.
Actually, that's fair. I understand.
So I am curious. So you were not so you are not a Christian.
No, not really.
Um are you particularly spiritual? I think we've had a conversation before, but I don't remember what your answer was. I
Oh,
know
good.
Inu is like pagan or Wiccan.
She is.
But
Or they are. Uh, no, not really. I don't really do that.
mm-hmm.
Not do that. That sounds really
No,
dismissive.
no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I don't really like do that kind of thing or no, I'm not spiritual.
Right, right. I don't really have a lot of uh beliefs outside of like, I don't know, taxes. Two constants in life: taxes and death. And then there's something else. It's a good game. You should play it. I think you did play it. Never mind.
Death and Taxes.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It is a good game. I want to play it. I listened to the rap song
Oh,
by the by Stupendium.
damn. Nice.
It's good. It's good.
Sounds good.
Um. So, like, off topic a little bit. So, what was it like growing up in San Antonio? What was like whatever you feel the need to mention, if anything? Like, was everyone like a certain way? Was there like a certain like community thing? Or was everyone poor or like super rich or
Oh
what's
my
up?
god. Was
I
everybody
know.
super poor where you come from? What?
well,
Damn.
well, everyone was super poor in Norwich. So
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, actually. Um, it was fine. I mean, I mostly lived in the suburbs, and a lot of the time, I wasn't really there wasn't really a lot of kids my age, because in the neighborhood I lived in, we were like the first people who like moved in, so and I moved in when I was like 7. No, I've lived in San Antonio my whole life. I have no memories before 7 years old. But after 7, I remember a few things. Um, it wasn't until I was like 10 maybe, that there were actually like
Mhm.
other people who would like showed up in the neighborhood. But like on a larger scale, like San Antonio itself, it's very like very Hispanic orientated. There's a lot of, I don't know, Hispanic and Mexican people here. There's very much like, it is definitely like more Hispanic than a lot of the other places in Texas. Cause definitely like when I leave San Antonio and I'll go to like Houston or something, I'm like, why are there so many white people here? Why is what is this place? What I remember one time I left San Antonio to go visit my friend in Austin, and we were like, I was like, oh, can we get like tacos or something in the morning? Cause like I'm starving, and they're like, we don't have any taco places, and I was like, what? And they had like street tacos and stuff like that, but they didn't have like just plain old like taco houses. Cause like down the street from my house, there's like 3 taco houses that I can go to. I have an array to choose from, but like Day of the Dead is super popular here. Um, of course, the cuisine very Mexican based. Just because I guess we're so close to, I don't know, the border. I don't know. Um, no, not really. I don't know why I said. Never mind. Um,
Mhm.
it's definitely very community based, but my family never really let me go like I remember my mom used to tell me when she was younger, her family like did not let them speak Spanish outside of the house, or like didn't let them uh play like Mexican music, or like even then, sometimes even today, like we're going through the radio and my mom will hear like Spanish music, like ah, and she'll be like, change it, change it, change it, and I'm like, why? It's good. And she's like, no, no. Especially like, I don't know. I feel like there must have been some like generational change between like 30 or so years ago, where the stuff that made you kind of like a person of color was very frowned upon, I guess. But now, I guess, at least from what I've seen, it's very much like your culture is who you are, like as a person, so you should be proud of it because so on and so forth.
So culture is like really important. Like or
Yeah,
community through like ethnic or like racial connection is like really important.
very much so.
Yeah, I feel that. I back in Connecticut, we have a lot of the poor communities are mostly Latino, and
Mm-hmm.
there's like a really big emphasis on like Latino solidarity that I think like you don't find among white people, if that makes sense.
Right.
Or you do, but like I feel like when white people come together, it's usually because they have something else in common, and not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily because they're white.
And usually when it
Although white
is,
supremacy exists,
I was about to say, well, there is a K place in San Antonio, I think.
but I think I don't know. I feel like Latinos are more likely to be not okay, but willing to overlook like political divisions
Mm-hmm.
over the if as long as you're both Latino versus if you're white, that becomes a bigger issue, I think, because there's
Right.
nothing else to distinguish you two from.
Yeah.
If that, because I remember like we had like a lot of conservative and liberal Latino folks in Norwich, and they all just kind of hung out because being Latino was more important than being conservative or being liberal or whatever.
Right.
But now you know my next question. Latinos, Catholicism and Christianity are really big in Latino communities. Not always. Some of them are pagan too, which I
Hmm.
see like more and more often. But would you say in San Antonio were a lot of people at the very least religious in one way or another?
Oh, definitely. I'd say there's more religious than not, people here.
And so is like church a really big deal, or is like church events, like all those kind
Yeah.
of things?
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's just to give you a quick scope, there's like three churches within walking distance of my house. So
Hey, you know what? That's less than Josh. Josh said he knew about 10 churches that were near him.
that's
All
scary.
all different sects of Christianity.
Oh, there's different sex? Awesome.
It
Cool.
is.
I
Well,
have
like sects matter more to white people than they do to other people.
That's fair. Yeah, there's uh I'm sorry, what? Yeah, what was your question? I'm so sorry. I got so
No,
focused
no,
on the
no,
number of churches.
no, 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 that's important. The question was like, is church a big deal? Are events a big deal? Like, community church events, are those important?
Yeah, they're really important to a lot of people here. Not me specifically, but
Yeah. Right.
my best friend Gabby, who lives like down the street from me, she used to be like this super religious person. Like she would go to like do like the church like trick or treat, and she would do like the like she would go like teach Christianity to like younger people. Just like that was like what the church did, and they were like, she was like, oh well, this is what they tell me, so I'll go do it. And I was like, okay, sure. And I was just standing there, an atheist, like, mm-hmm, yep, yes, this sounds so much fun. Um, but yeah, definitely. Uh, I I know even my mom, who like isn't didn't become religious until like my dad died. She also has very like, oh, we should, there's this church thing happening, we should go try it. And we're like, maybe, and then we don't. Or she goes like by herself.
Mm. Did she ever like really want you to go, or like, did she ever get mad that you didn't go, or was it just kind of like, oh, you're old, you can do whatever you don't want?
Just yesterday, she was telling me she still needed me to get like what is it? Not where you get baptized, but like the second part where you memorize the like prayers and stuff.
I actually have no idea.
It's well, she was just telling me yesterday how she wanted me to do that thing, and she said you need to get at least like the basics down, before you can act all like whatever. Then you can choose what you want to believe in after you get the basics in. And I was like, huh? But I'd say for at least my mom and like the older people,
Mhm.
it's super important.
Hell yeah! So you mentioned that Gabby would go do like church stuff during Halloween. Like, so during Halloween,
Oh, come
how did
here.
a lot of the churches respond to Halloween and stuff like that?
It was most they would do Halloween, but they would do like kiddie versions of Halloween. So they would have like the cartoon like vampires, or like oh scary little statues, quote unquote scary little statues of zombies,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. And they would have you heard of Trunk or Treat?
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Someone was going to fucking trunk or treat. I brought it to Josh, and Josh was like, "What?" And I was like, "You live near like a bunch of churches. Do none of them do trunk or treat?"
Yeah. I think they I don't think they like hated Halloween. I think they because I feel like Halloween has become very not commercialized, but very much like kind of disconnected from I don't want to say like the true spirit of Halloween, but like
a lot
Uh,
of well, a really common in some of my research, like a really common Christian belief is that Halloween is like inherently evil. That it like is turned from like blood rituals and like witchcraft and things that a lot of Christians are very adverse to.
right.
That's
No.
like a common belief among Christians.
Or at least the churches near my house, they don't believe that. They're just like, oh, it's a little fun little thing that like kids can do. Because kids want candy, we have candy. Church, come to church, we have candy. That kind of thing. But
Hmm.
they very much.
So a lot of it was like very. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, this is your thing. Go ahead.
Oh, right, my interview. Sorry. Um, it was they treated it very much like a thing for kids, and I think it's kind of also sort of like, oh, it's something they'll grow out of eventually, kind of, if that makes sense.
Mm.
But like, yeah, I don't know. It was very,
Yeah.
very like kid oriented and very like subtle. Like, oh, here you go, kids. Here's your candy. Here's a pamphlet you can give your parents when you're done about
Mm.
our church.
It just says you will die
If you
if
don't
you
come
don't give your
here.
life to Christ.
Yeah.
um. So, so I'm curious, like for you, this is for you specifically, because your mother wasn't particularly religious, but you live in a community where people were religious. Was there ever like restrictions on your Halloween costume? Like, for example, if you wanted to dress up as the devil, could you do that?
Yeah, I don't think I mean, me specifically, I don't think I would listen to anybody outside of like my mother to be like, you can't dress like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like, fuck you. But
But would your mother ever? You think your
no,
mom would ever have?
no, I don't think my mom's like that hardcore religious. I think she's more like believe in God, do whatever you want, but believe in God while you do it, you know? Cuz
Mm-hmm.
like my family has not been the best in terms of everything. So,
Right.
but in the end it just comes back down to like my brother was in the hospital and like my mom was like praying over him kind of thing like that. Not like
Mm-hmm.
overtly so, but like kneeling next to the bed, hands together, like eyes closed, like really fast, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like classic Spanish prayer. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Terrifying.
yeah. But I don't think no, there wasn't any like, oh, you can't dress like that because God will get angry at you. There was never anything like that. It was mostly just like dress up. Oh, instead of dressing up as a werewolf for the fourth time, Emily, why don't you dress up as a princess? And I was like, yeah, okay, I guess.
Literally anything else.
Yeah, basically. But no, no like costume restrictions or anything.
Hmm. Um. So outside of Halloween, what you went to school, sure, certainly.
No,
Um,
I was taught in the
what?
woods.
Oh, apologies. How was wood school? No, I'm kidding. Um, uh, so I know in Texas, not every town does this, but a lot of towns in Texas are very conservative. And a lot of times the school system is influenced by other towns. Um, was there ever anything at school that was like Christian or like, for example, I guess like a good example was like where there are certain books banned, like back in the 2010s they banned like Hunger Games and they banned Harry Potter from school because of its themes. Was there ever anything along those lines of maybe like religious teachers or whatever things along that
um,
line, if that makes sense?
my science teacher in like middle school used to be super religious. Uh, it was definitely strange, cause occasionally she would drop like little like, oh, in the Bible, and then someone would be like, I have a question about the nucleus. So she would never really get to say anything, but she used to have like it was really funny. Sometimes it would happen. She'd be like, "Oh, here, let me find an easier way to explain this. When Mary and Joseph and someone was like, Miss, can I go to the bathroom?" She was like, yes, Jonathan, you can go to the bathroom. Anyways, back to the lesson, and she just went back to like science stuff. But there was never any like I guess in school, I don't know if I just went to like basic ass schools, but they didn't go to they I didn't have any teachers that would try and say any like religious stuff to us cuz I think they knew that they'd get in trouble real quick cuz I went to
Hmm.
schools full of tattletalers.
Hell yeah. That's actually it's a very common theme I've been talking because talking to people. I'll tell you the whole thing later, but it's very common. Like so I was kind of surprised. I was
Mhm.
like, my school just weird? Is that the reality? Is my school just weird? And I remember reading about like banned books in America. I was like, wow, a lot of schools would be doing this, but everyone I've talked
Oh,
to is like, no, my school like didn't give a shit. It's like, oh,
that reminds me. We used to have like in my high school, we used to have I think for like a month like a little corner that have quote unquote banned books that were like, "Oh, these
they did
books
that in
used to
my high
be."
school too. Yeah,
Yeah, that's all. I just remembered that right now when you said that.
I think a lot of the banned book controversies are in like Alabama, like really really rural South.
Yeah.
I think is where you see a lot of that happening.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, San Antonio is like a city, right?
Yeah, we're a city. We're big.
Do you think San Antonio leans more liberal, and that kind
Definitely.
of helps with that whole situation?
Definitely. Saw Trump. I saw somebody selling. There's somebody in my neighborhood who sells piñatas. He had like three Trump piñatas in his garage, like drying. So definitely a little bit more liberal. There are I remember I when I used to go to college, there were like the people who would like stand in like the little designated church corner where they'd be like, "You're all going to hell. You're all whores. If you're a woman, you're a whore." That kind of thing. But
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. Classic.
but it was very much more of a spectacle than anything. Like there would be people like there would be a crowd, but it would be people like pointing and laughing and filming them, kind of thing, more than anything. Which, goddamn, I don't know how you have the balls to say God hates you while you're being pointed and laughed at by a crowd of 40 college students. I would evaporate immediately.
So a lot of the liberal population are like college age students, or like people that are within kind of like the millennial
Yeah,
and
like
Gen Z age range.
yeah, like me and my brother. We're very very liberal.
Hmm. Now, for older folks in like your immediate community, would I should say is liberalism like a cohesive idea, or are a lot of people who are old, maybe older, or a little more religious, more conservative, or like more traditionalist? I should say is the way to put it. Where like ideas of, for example, like heteronormativity, where like things should be straight, women shouldn't have like a lot of sex, maybe a little bit of sex, but not a lot of sex. Sort of ideas that are very traditional. Maybe not like conservative, like pro life, all that shit, but not exactly like super liberal folks. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know like my immediate circle, my mater. I know with my mom at least, she leans a little bit more on the traditionalist side, cause like she still wants me to put like little like jewelry barrettes in my hair, and she thinks that'll make men notice me. Um,
Oh, great.
yeah, but which I was like, these make me look like a kid, mom. I don't
Well, it
think I
made
want
Inu notice too, so that works.
I actually no. Shut up. Anyways,
No, I can't.
um, like a lot of the I'll use like the immediate circle of people that I know who are older are like my mom, her sister, and like I guess that's kind of biased because they grew up in the same kind of situation. Uh,
That's fine. No, no, absolutely. That's they grew up in the same community. Like that's still.
fuck yeah. I definitely say there's. I don't think that they're conservative, but they're very
Mhm.
much like I don't want any more taxes on me. I don't want to be taxed. I don't think immigrants should be allowed to come in and be paid money. I don't think people should be on welfare for more than a year, that kind of thing.
Right. where it's sort of like a lot of the ideas are very old school.
Yeah, I think a lot of their stuff is just old school, not necessarily like they're not malicious by any means. Like my mom's not like, oh, those fucking immigrants, they gotta get the hell out of our country. She's just like, well, if you come here, like if you're like a business owner, I think they should be allowed to like you could continue your business here, but I don't think they should be giving you money just because you decided to pick up and leave your wherever you came from. And I was like, whoa, damn,
No, that works,
bitch.
but okay.
Yeah, yeah. But I was like, they need a house. She's like, they can just pay whatever. And I was like, inflation. But you know,
Also, property
yeah,
distribution of property.
yeah. But yeah, I definitely say the older folk that I know are a little bit more conservative than. No, I think they're conservatively liberal. Like they're still on the
hmm
liberal side, but they're
Kind of
a little bit closer to the
like
middle.
like moderate conservatives,
Yeah, yeah.
where like we're not talking about fundamentalism. We're not talking about people who like believe that like women are evil for having sex. People that gay people are awful, but also like kind of like that very like lukewarm conservatism where it's well, it's okay if they do it, just not near me, or just like not where I can see it,
That's that.
or
I totally forgot about gay people. My aunt, not my older aunt. That'd be so mean. My aunt, uh,
old ass, saggedy ass arm.
stop. One of my aunts is gay, and she like had a wife, but they got divorced. And my mom and my okay, gay aunt. Her name's Aunt Christy. My the aunt that I was talking about before. That's Katrina. And my mom's Cassandra, of course. So of course the C's stick together. Fucking bastards. No, my oh my god, they're all C. What the fuck? Never mind. My mom and her sister, they were very much like, well, you can be gay, just don't be gay like near us or whatever. And I remember like during like Christmas, like a Christmas party when my gay aunt and her wife were still together, they were very much like still talking shit even though they've been married for like a year and a half. Like, ah, oh, it won't last. It won't last. And then it made it even worse when they actually got divorced because of other reasons. They were like, ah, oh, I knew it wouldn't last. I knew it wouldn't last. And it's I don't know. It was very much like strange because it puts me, a gay person, in a very complicated situation where it's like, so do you or do you not? I can't really tell, you know?
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's almost like a point of like ambiguity
Yeah, where you,
where no one's making like a definitive statement on anything.
yeah, because,
Uh,
mm-hmm.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, because it's like, oh, well, she's my sister, so I'll support her in everything she does. But also, gay people, you know?
Yeah, where it's like, oh, I wish she wasn't gay, but if she's going to be gay, I'm gonna support her
Yeah, because she's my sister. And
because
that.
she's my sister, but she wasn't my sister.
Yup. But it's
Yeah.
it's very much yeah, kind of like behind closed doors, very conservative.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear. I think that's a lot of like a common sentiment with like a lot of Christians who live in liberal areas, which kind of is my next question. During uh so during Halloween, a lot of people in the community still do Halloween, Kitty Kitty, and stuff like that. Outside of Halloween, were a lot of those things like still allowed? Like, were like could kids still, like I don't know, like if a kid was like, I want just as like a little as like a witch today for like a cool picture, like cosplay thing, or things like where kids can. Let me rephrase this. I'll ask this first instead. For you specifically, Kaito. Kaito Jimenez.
Oh, crying.
Pretty specifically Kaito. Was Halloween a creative outlet for you?
Um, hmm. Hmm. No, not really. It was more just grabbing a costume and fucking around with your friends. It wasn't really like a oh, let's make our own costumes and have fun putting them together. It was more just like, oh, just go buy something, put it on, get the hell out of here, get some
Mm-hmm.
candy while we fuck around and teach little children how to swear.
But when it came to like picking your costume, you had a lot of control over what you wore, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a matter of
It was,
like, oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
It was more a matter of like, okay, let's go to like Party City and like, you know how Party City has like the whole wall of costumes. Oh my god, it's already 1:30.
Mm-hmm.
The whole wall of costumes. Basically, it would be like, oh, go check out like what costume you want. Then I'd go, I want this one. It'd be like I don't know, like I did dress up as a cow one time. I'd be like, I want the cow, and they were like, okay, and then they would go get it for me in my size, and then we'd try it on, and then we buy it, and then that was it. Of course,
And
there would be like, oh, my mom's like, oh, do you want to dress up as like a ruby? So I was like, no,
a what?
Ruby Rose,
Oh. I thought
like an actual ruby,
like an actual movie. I was like, how does that work?
just red.
Word. Um, and was your mom like always like whenever you did creative stuff, like besides costuming, like if you ever drew or wrote, was your mom like super supportive or like your family super supportive of that? Or was it kind of like a, I do this for me, family doesn't really care either way?
Uh, um, hmm. I remember I did write like some poetry for like my middle school. Like I think there was like a contest or something. I do remember I submitted a couple of works, and for some reason my school was like, okay, first you have to get a parent's signature and then you can submit it. And I was like, that's my worst nightmare. So I had to show my mom, and my mom was like, oh wow, these are really great, Emily, so on and so forth. And I was always like, you're just saying that because you're my mom. Okay, give me this and go turn it in and run away. But yeah, like I remember I used to write like stories like with my dad when I was younger, when he was
Mm.
still alive. But we used to have like this ongoing like email chain where I would write like 3 paragraphs and then he would send like his 3 paragraphs, and then I would pretend to be like a little book editor, and I'd be like, you need to fix your grammar on this, and he's like, okay. But of course, I read back on them like a couple years ago, and I was like, this is the worst grammar I've ever seen. The way that he had it was fine. But yeah, my family was always, at least from the few things that I showed them, they were really supportive of like, oh, you write. That means you're good with words. That means you're smart. Perfect. Keep doing that.
Mm. Was so was it sort of like fostering creativity because it's going to benefit you in the future and not necessarily because it was like you're being emotional and you're expressing your true feelings, which is good for you.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely because it would make me money in the future.
Okay.
Constantly, my mom would be like, "When are you gonna make write the new bestseller?" And I was like, "I just like to write little the stupid fan fiction, mom."
Mm-hmm.
But
So, like, Melissa, would you say that making money in the future is really important?
oh yeah, definitely, it's always about money. That's all it is. That's all there is.
Mm.
Moolah.
Dang. Hell yeah, man.
That
Um.
that was also a reason why my family wanted me to be a doctor. Because they were like, you'll be financially
Mhm.
stable for the rest of your life, so you don't have to like worry about it. And I was like, I don't know if I like biology. And they were like, yeah, but the money. And I was like, the money. I do like money.
Mhm.
And then yeah.
They make you an English major.
Yeah. I had a breakdown over changing my major and I didn't tell anybody. It was great.
I also had a breakdown in my
Oh
major.
my god! High five!
We got we're breakdown
Did you
buddies.
also cry in the admissions office? Not the admissions, the like advisor's office?
I cried in my room.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I guess like the last question that I'll ask was so my brain um during Halloween, do you feel like Halloween was ultimately like a good break from everything?
Hmm. Hmm. I don't know how to answer this without sounding pessimistic.
Yeah,
Uh,
go ahead. Be as pessimistic as you want to be.
Not really. It was just another day. It was just
Mm.
kind of like, oh, today you get to dress up and be with your friends for like 2 hours longer than usual. But as soon as it gets dark, you better get your ass home. And I was like, okay. So it was really just like, I wouldn't say Halloween was like, it was fun, but it wasn't like anything particularly special. It was basically like a glorified like play date, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Do you think it was a good break for your mom?
No, because my mom would also dress up and just like give out candy, but I don't think it was a matter of like, oh, I just get to hang out and give out candy to people and do something nice. I think it was just, I don't think she did Halloween because it's like, oh, this could be fun. I think she did it more out of obligation than anything. Because like me and my
You
brother like Halloween, but it was more like, I kind of have to give out candy because my kids are going out and getting candy from other people.
do you think if other people weren't doing Halloween that your family would have still done it or no?
Um, hmm.
Like
I,
for example, right? Like Josh's neighborhood. Most of Brooklyn, Connecticut has sort of lights off during Halloween, so there are no kids like trick or treating. Uh, People usually go to other neighborhoods, but no one in Brooklyn is trick or treating. If it was a similar situation, like in a hypothetical situation, if it was that in San Antonio, would you still have done trick or treating and dress up and all that stuff, or would it kind of just been like a regular day?
hmm. I know this year. Oh no, I think we did trick or treating. I was working this year, so I was in like me. My brother doesn't go trick or treating because he's like 27. um, but
Classic.
yeah, but I know they gave out candy, but they had like because I remember we bought like a bunch of like 3 bags of candy, but we only gave out like half a bag because there just wasn't a lot of kids this year. Um, so I they did do it this year, but hmm, like my mom was pushing kind of for like, oh, do you want to just stay and like watch scary movies or something, and we can keep all of this candy? My brother was like, nah, we gotta give out candy. So I don't think she did Halloween this year because oh, fun Halloween. I think it was like because my brother wanted to give out candy.
Mm-hmm. Kind of at the whim of you guys. Like you guys were the ones that were encouraging her to do Halloween. But
Yeah,
if you weren't, she would not have done it.
definitely, yeah.
Hmm. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, gamer.
That's pretty much it. Honestly.
Spectacular.
Um,
Let me
you don't know
stop the
what the thesis
recording.
is?